You're about to make the largest purchase of your life. You have to go and get a loan for this now. Who do you trust with giving you that much money? Today I'll be going into how to find a good lender. Hey there, my name's Emmanuel. Welcome to If I Can, You Can, the channel where if I can do it, you can do it too. I go over real estate investing and home renovations. As always, if you like this content, please like and subscribe below and leave me a comment. I always like to hear what you have to say. Today I'll be going over how to find a good lender. First off, I have to go over not all lenders are created equally. They can have different rates, different terms, and different capabilities. Not every lender wants to do every type of lending. You may have ones that just specialize in commercial properties. You may have some that just do single family, some that do multifamily, some that do short-term rentals. They just vary on what they're comfortable with, and they build their book of business by what they specialize in. So you need to find something that's appropriate for what you're getting. But first, let's look at a primary residential loan. You're going to be looking at FHA, conventional, VA, or USDA even. These are the type of loan products you're going to look for, and you need to look for a lender that's willing to service these. Now, for investment property, you may be looking for something like a DSCR or a conventional loan, or maybe even a private or hard money lender. These are the appropriate lenders for those loan products. And then if you're looking for a commercial or multifamily, you may be looking for a commercial lender or a portfolio lender. Those will be the appropriate people for that. Now, where to start for lenders? You may want to look at local banks and credit unions. They have a inherent desire to want to build up their community, because as the money stays in there, flows around, more money exchanges hands, more people use it, it benefits them. So they may be willing to lend on stuff that larger institutions don't want to touch because they're not in that area. Look to those people first. If you're investing, make sure you use an investor-friendly lender too. Some people don't lend to investors, it just happens. Make sure that they have either done it or are willing to do it in the future. And you may want to ask other investors who they've used, or go on something like BRRRR. They have a list of lenders on there too. Now, particularly what I've done before, I've used a lender broker where they go and I tell them what I'm looking for, and they go and try to find the best people that fit what I'm trying to use. Do I suggest that for everybody? No, not in particular, but it worked out for what I needed, because I was looking for something specialized, and we were in a point of the market that not everyone wanted to lend for investing for what I was trying to buy. Now, when you find a lender, what are you going to ask? You're going to ask them, what's their interest rate and their APR? Do they have any fees? What's their loan term, and what's the amortization schedule for what you're buying? Can I lock my rate, and for how long? You don't want to get a teaser rate where it's, hey, you know what, I'll give you 4%, but you took a day too long to do it. Now it's going to be 12% or 10%. You want to make sure you can lock the rate in too. And is it going to be adjustable or a fixed rate mortgage throughout the life of the loan? Because there are some products out there that are more likely to be variable than fixed rate. I think HELOC would be one of them, and there might be a couple others out there. And then the final good question would be, is there a prepayment penalty? If I go ahead and I knock this out of the park and you give me a loan for this and I rehab it and I make a ton of money out of it, and then I go around and I sell it 2 months later, are you going to charge me a fee because I was very successful in it? Good question to ask, because sometimes that does happen. And then finally, when you get loan estimates from multiple lenders, you need to compare them side by side. You need to look at the total cost. You need to see what you need to bring to the closing table, or cost of closing is called. You need to look at required reserves and the monthly payment. A lot of these numbers are kind of like a three-legged stool. People can play with these numbers a lot, where they take one down, but they actually have to raise another one or lower another one. What ends up happening is they rob Peter and pay Paul in these things. So I've heard of some stories where guys wanted a certain interest rate. Hey, you know what? I don't want to pay 8% on the interest rate. I want 6%. And sure enough, the lender gave it to them. And then when they went to the closing table, they needed to come up with about $20,000 to $30,000 because they were buying down that rate. They didn't see that in the initial documents because all they wanted to see was the interest rate. And when they looked across, they got the interest rate what they wanted, but they had to pay it in cash up front to get that rate. There are a bunch of ways these numbers can be manipulated and moved around. You need to know what it's going to be ultimately for you. You need to look at your monthly payment too. You need to make sure that doesn't move, because they'll move these fees around. And look out for red flags. If they're not giving you an easy answer to these things, because these guys do them all the time, you don't want something too complicated. You also want to feel rushed either. You're going into something for hundreds of thousands of dollars, possibly even millions of dollars. This isn't something that you want to rush through. You want to make sure you understand everything and someone who's willing to walk you through that and be all right with you asking these questions. Also, avoid unclear fee structures. If you don't know what's going on and you can't tell what fee you're going to pay and not pay, that's no good. You need to walk away from a deal like that. And then the green flags are just transparency, responsive, investor friendly. All these things are what you want to look for a great lender. If they make you feel really good and you feel confident that you're knowledgeable about the deal, that's what you want. And finally, I got 3 pro tips for you. First, you want to build a relationship with these people. Sometimes you may go back to them, sometimes you may go somewhere else, but the more business you do with somebody, the more likely they're willing to lend with you because you're building a reputation there. Second is make sure you get a pre-approval. People only take you seriously when you get your ducks in a row and you're serious about these offers, and that is the first step you can take about showing them, hey, I'm serious on doing this. And the last one is make sure that you have all your documentation together for when you need to start closing on a property or move to go under contract for a property. So you want your W-2s, your any other tax statements you have, you need all that documentation to give them. So have that prepared. Now, is there anything else I'm forgetting? If so, please leave it in the comments below. I really want to hear it. But that's all I have for right now, and I'll see you in the next one.